there's something I can give you in exchange for everything you give to me. Read my mind, you make me feel just fine. When I think my peace of mind is out of reach, the scales are sometimes unbalanced, and you bear the weight of all that has to be. I hope you see that you can lean on me, and together we can calm the stormy seas. When love's so strong and so unselfishly, and I tell you now that I made a vow, I'm giving you the best that I've got, baby. Yes, I tell you now that I made a vow, I'm giving you the best that I've got, honey. Everybody's got opinions about the way they think our story's gonna end. Some folks feel it's just a superficial thrill. Everybody's gonna have to think again. We've loved so strong and so unselfishly. They don't bother me, so I'm gonna keep on giving you the best that I've got, baby. They don't bother me, said I'm gonna keep on giving you the best that I got. Listen, baby, somebody understands you. Somebody gave his hand to me. I stumbled my whole life long, always on my own. Now I'm home, and my weary mind is rested, and I feel as if my home is in your arms. My fears are all gone, I like the sound of your song, and I think I wanna sing it forever. When love is so strong and so unselfishly, and I made a vow, so I tell you now, I'm giving you the best that I've got. Listen, baby, I bet everything on my wedding ring. I'm giving it to you, baby.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, family. Yours truly, Joe Dupree in the building from 100 BLK, the Black Station. Your girl Jax, the life strategist, the art therapist, the speaker, the author, and broadcasting live from O'Hare in Chicago at the airport. My brother from another mother, you know him from the Open Line Online, 1075 WBLS in New York City, and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. We'll show up in your city. We'll put the road show on the road, and we will see you. Welcome. The hashtag Truth Be Told. It is Work It Out Wednesday, and my brother's trying to make his way back to South Kakalaki where he can definitely work it out. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good morning, good morning, all. Good morning.
Great day, Brother Joe. How you feeling?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Brother Fatim, how you feeling in that busy airport there at O'Hare?
Man, this is a busy airport, man. They don't have nowhere for you to daggone sit and do anything, you know. So I'm around a lot of people. I gave them a heads up, you know.
It's all right. It's all good.
You know, I don't water anything down. I know I usually drink water or tea, but I needed a little push this morning, a little Mountain Dew Zero, no sugar in it, you know.
Okay.
But it feels so good to be out of the daggone suited and booted. I just ain't with that, man. I was hot and miserable yesterday. I tell you.
Clean, you look like new money. You look like clean like new money.
You
a casket shark.
I felt like an old food stamp. That's what I felt like. That's what I felt. I'm not gonna look like new money. I felt like an old wrinkled up food stamp. That's how I felt, you know.
I say, go ahead and with your Easter suit.
You call me the Easter Bunny. Okay. I got you. Okay. Well, let me just say this. Last night, you know, at the Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church, I mean, they showed up and showed out last night. And, you know, they came out to support the Sonia Massey's family. That's what it was about. Matter of fact, I didn't really post any pictures. So shout out to Sister Jewel Wall. I sent her a picture. I haven't posted, but I told her she could post it. She posted a picture of me and Santita Jackson. If anybody don't know who Santita Jackson, that's Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr.'s daughter. And she does a podcast. She does radio in here in Chicago, since I'm still here in Chicago. I haven't really posted any pictures due to the fact that this was not a celebration. This was a support rally, and Reverend Sharpton, attorney Ben Crump, and others raised money for this family because the children were there. Sonia Massey's children was there, the father, you know, and other relatives were there. And this is a very tough time for them right now. So we had to come out. Yes, we had to raise money. We had to raise money because this is not easy. It's not going to be easy for these children to be without their mother. That's their loved one. And then to lose your mother, but to lose your mother in the spotlight of the world. That's not easy. When you walk out the house, you know what kind of pressure that puts on a person, young people, to try to live their life. You don't know what kind of pressure, and if they can deal with that type of pressure, because sometimes when you can't deal with that pressure, you do things that honestly you shouldn't do, but it's a coping mechanism. So I hopefully not only love, but if they need therapy, and I think they definitely do need some type of therapy, the whole family, just not the children, the loved ones, siblings, parents, you know, so that's so important. But I just want to give kudos to Reverend Sharpton. Like I said, Attorney Crump, Roland Martin, that the brother really works hard. You see him out there doing Unfiltered. I spoke with him. So I told him that, listen, brother, I know you're busy, but you got to make some rounds on podcasts and radio out here for us out here to go and do it.
Wow.
Yes. So our thoughts, our prayers, our condolences go out. We do need to continue to keep her name relevant, Sonia Massey. We need to say enough is enough. We need to start talking to people about policies, and that's where politics always play a role in the hiring practices of getting certain individuals who have the power of life and death legally in their hand with some of these agencies, and especially with law enforcement. I say that as a law enforcement officer, that we should just definitely get down. I know there is a shortage, but just because there is a shortage in the number of law enforcement officers does not mean we need to take shortcuts when it comes down to the quality of individuals we hire to be enforcement officers. Sister Jax.
Yes, thank you so much, Brother Fatim, for all you did yesterday. I mean, that was phenomenal. I was able to watch some of it online, and it was powerful. I saw some really, really powerful moments. And also, like you said, about getting the help, because many times what we do as a people, we wait until the problem really manifests. So waiting until the problem manifests and then potentially seeking help after it starts getting out of control, we need to start getting help before it even gets out of control. So for any of us that are going through any grief and loss and, things of that nature, and just trials in general, seek help early. Don't wait until the end, till, you're really, really down and out. Try to seek help as early as possible. And prayers up for those children, her family members, her close friends. I can't imagine what they've endured. And like you said, losing your mom in the spotlight, and every day it's a press conference, or it's people calling with questions and people trying to figure out, and you're trying to process it, but you're kind of just stuck in this spotlight. It has to be rough, and tough. So prayers up, for those children and for everyone involved. For sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let me just say this, and Joe, let me know, or Jax, if because I know I'm on the internet here and it seems to be a little spotty, and I could try my hotspot. So just let me know if I'm hanging or whatever, because I know there seems to be glitches. So just let me know. I think again, we talk about policy, Joe. You talk about policy, and we know where we at in this political campaign, and we cannot put the cart before the horse. We got a lot of work to do to get, who, from our perspective, that would be the better person for the White House. And that's the reality now, and there's a lot of work that has to be done. We cannot just take this enthusiasm and just stop there. We got some weeks that we have to put in the work, do what needs to be done. But this has to stop. Enough is enough. And that was the picture on Sonia Massey last night in the church on the video screen. Enough is enough. You understand? I'm tired of seeing this type of gatherings for our folks. This has to stop. There's tragedies out here, but not when you call for assistance and help from people that's supposed to help and serve and respect you. So that has to stop. That has to stop, because we don't see this when it comes with us as law enforcement officers in other communities. We see it in our community. We saw what the black officers did to that young black kid and killed him, beat him up and killed him. We seen that. But we don't see that in other neighborhoods. We don't do that. We don't accidentally shoot people. You understand what I'm saying? So don't tell me that is not a mindset or a mentality.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And Brother Fatim, just to mention briefly, I know we briefly spoke about it earlier. You shot me a TikTok last night, right? And that TikTok, I looked at it over and over and over again, and I read the comments, and I was just blown away. It was a TikTok. If you want to share it, or you want me to share it, Fatim?
Share it, because I sent out about 10 TikToks last night. I shared a lot of stuff last night.
Yeah, I got you. So Brother Fatim sent me a TikTok of some brothers, and they were marching. Ben Crump had posted it on his TikTok account or Instagram account, and it was a bunch of brothers marching. They were wearing purple and gold, and it was powerful. I saw Queen Latifah was making comments. Had made a comment, a bunch of other celebrities, a bunch of other, just regular citizens like us, commenting on seeing the solidarity of these brothers that came together. And it was just so powerful. It literally had me in tears watching these, men, march for Sonia. And I know they do so much more than just, marching for Sonia for that day. I know they'll continue to do the work in the community. From here on out, they've always done it. So I just look forward to watching what these brothers in purple and gold continue to do. I remember seeing them at the Barclays Center, marching and demanding justice for Kyrie. And they're everywhere. So I just want to big up those brothers that were in purple and gold.
Let me just say this. Thank you for saying that, Sister Jackson. Yep. So one of the brothers that approached me and wanted me to do an interview, but I had ordered an Uber. As soon as he asked me to do the interview, the Uber had pulled up, so I couldn't do the interview, because I definitely would have done the interview, because I solicit people to do interviews here and on my Open Line WBLS shows. Let me just say this, because I was going to mention the Kyrie Irving situation. On the Kyrie Irving situation, these brothers not only show up, they show out. and the amount of number and how they look as strong black men standing up that are walking in a righteous way. That is so important. I'm telling you, you saw with Nafat, you saw it with Brother Jay, Grandmaster Jay. You see it with a lot of the brothers that are part of the Hebrew Israelites. And even though they may be different groups or whatever, I don't know what the different groups, but the bottom line is we come together. The bottom line is we need to come together not only under tragedy, we need to come together under unity. Because if we come together under unity, then we could possibly stop a lot of these things because we can take control and patrol of our communities.
Absolutely.
You know, brother Fatim, you said
I was just saying, I'm going to share on my page today also. So if you guys even go to Ben Crump's Instagram page, you'll see. But I'll also share it on my personal Instagram page as well as my personal Facebook page today. Go ahead, Joe.
So as Brother Fatim was saying, and regardless of what group you belong to, melanated people, we got to be more proactive than we are reactive, period. And we have to understand, even in ourselves, we all hold certain beliefs to be true, but we need to stand under one banner. We are all melanated.
Mm-hmm.
That's the banner everybody needs to stand under, regardless of how you look at the melanation. We are all melanated. So we've got callers calling in. Let me take a caller right quick. Caller, welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. I hope I got you on. Can you hear us? And do you have a question or a comment? Hold on, caller. Caller, are you still there? Hello. We can hear you. Hello.
Hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, this is Rhonda. I hope you can hear me.
Hey, Rhonda, we can hear you.
All right. Listen, that's what I was saying yesterday to expound on just being black. Now, that's what it is. Just be black first. That post you put up about that reverend, it has went viral. They talk about it. Doesn't matter if you're religious, if you are zealot, if you believe in God, if you're conscious, whatever. You have to be black first because this is how they perceive us. We can iron out our differences amongst ourselves, but you have to come together to be black.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for calling in, Rhonda. Y'all are welcome to call in just like Sister Rhonda. The phone number is up there, 225-250-8770. Back to what I was saying, and thank you, Rhonda, for backing me up on that. Listen, we got to get to a place that we push everything to the side except we are melanated. Mm-hmm. We all have the same plight. We are melanated. It is literally us against them. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry. That's just really where it's at. And we have to stand on one thing. We are all melanated. And we have to say, okay, you might be melanated and have this belief, but you're melanated. So we have to come under that common banner and fight toward the same purpose and the same cause, that we all be free, that we all be at a place where we can be at peace and we feel like we are equals in the space that we're living in, period. Go ahead, Sister Jax.
And you know what? And it takes brothers like that, because I know those brothers, they're all around the world and they're involved in everything. And what I love about them also is that they're very proactive. They don't just pop up when it's the time of an event. They constantly, march, and they're out in the community and teaching and, working with people and doing stuff with conflict resolution, and they're going into schools. They're everywhere. So it was just beautiful seeing that, once again, every time I see them somewhere, it just warms my heart. So kudos to my brothers in purple and gold, and not the fraternity purple and gold, but God's.
No. Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Stop the presses. No, those were not members of Omega Psi Phi. Those were I want to pronounce it correctly. Those were Hebrew Israelites. Mm-hmm. Now there might be in a certain faction, but we got to call them by their name. And we're not gonna tiptoe around and act like we're not gonna call their name. We're gonna call their name. That's what they are. So different groups and different factions within the Hebrew Israelites, but that was a group of them doing a great thing, a thing that deserves a round of applause and deserves the bell. And that's who it is. And if you want to know more about them, you might need to walk up to them and ask them, what do you do? We're not going to just act like we're just going to skim over that and say, oh, the guys in purple and gold. No, those were Hebrew Israelites, period.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Joe. So thank you for, for that point of clarity, because that is absolutely who they are. And they stand 10 toes down for the Most High. And it's just beautiful to watch it.
It's interesting when Joe said Hebrew Israelites, a lot of them put the word black in front of them, black Hebrew Israelites. And like I said, there's different groups out there. I'm not here to get into that aspect of it. I've had conversation at debates. The reason why I had a debate, Sister Jax, brother lived right next door apartment. Come out my door, he come out his door. And we used to, we was in the laundromat. He went and got his Bible. I went and got my Bible. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we did it, but we still was brothers. So when there was a situation in our apartment building, we come together and things like that. And I just say to every brother out there that is part of the Bible. That was Joe. With those that, and I just say that, as Joe said, I think some of the brothers now are more approachable because I come out of New York, and being out of New York, you'll see these brothers in front of train stations, in front of corners, and they go hard. They go hard. I'm not gonna sit there. They'll get on a sister who's not dressed properly, this, that, and other, and it honestly created tension at times because a lot of people say there's a better way to communicate that message, but from their perspective, there was like sometimes we've been trying to communicate that message from so many different sources, and you're not getting it. So sometimes we got to be straight up and harsh and straight to the point to deal with it. But I just hope that more of them are more approachable to have a conversation, not to preach, but to teach. Because when it's about teaching, because everybody's not going to follow your footsteps, but what they can do is have better understanding of what you're doing and gain knowledge from that and become a better person.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need to have more of. Understand, everybody might not see your spiritual, theological philosophy. However, you can't educate folks on the historical presence of certain facts that lie there within. We've got to get to a point where we push all our prejudice, especially our self-prejudice. I am sick and tired of black people being mad at black people. Push that to the side and say to yourself, this is my brother and my sister, and I may not agree, but I do need to listen and maybe somewhat understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
and
all I gotta say.
I've had the opportunity to listen and speak, to a few of them before, when I've come across, and they are some of the most brilliant, compassionate, loving, intelligent, historically sound people I've ever met. So it's just interesting, and I just love to see what they're doing in the community. So kudos to the Israelite brothers for sure.
21 minutes past the hour on this last day of the month. Tomorrow is the first day of the month. How are we going to end this month? We're going to end this month trying to give you some information. I got Dr. Copeland coming on, Dr. Nina Copeland coming on in the next hour. We're going to have some great information because a lot of you out there are entrepreneurs. Y'all are business folks. And we're going to talk about, do you got your stuff in order? See, it's one thing to talk the talk. It's another thing to walk the walk. And most of the time, some of you entrepreneurs, the reason your stuff fall apart is you don't have your stuff together. So we're going to have that conversation in the next hour. Right now, it's 22 minutes past the hour. Yours truly, Joe Dupree in the building, 100 BLK, the Black Station. My girl, Jax, the life strategist, the art therapist, the speaker, the author. Listen, family, if you don't know and you might need a life coach, man, I recommend my sister Jax. She all about that life. And in Busy O'Hare down in Chi-Town, Chicago, my man, my brother from another mother, the Open Lines Online, WBLS 1075 in New York City, and keeping it real with Val Sharpton, brother Fatim. Los Angeles out today. He LA'd out from the head to the toes. He talking straight Dodgers. That's what I'm talking about.
Look, I got a question for y'all. So, KC had posted something online last night, right? When I saw it online.
Who's KC?
KC, my cousin. And
Your
that
cousin?
What?
but you know who Casey is.
Who the heck is Casey?
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my mouth shut without dropping some juice on y'all. But anyway, so she posted something. So it was interesting. So this morning I responded back to it and said that, you know, I'm going to bring it up on the show. Let's have a conversation. So I'm curious as to what you guys think. And the viewers, hop in the chat and tell us what you think. So she shared a post and it said, normalize comforting people without mentioning God. I thought that was deep. So what do y'all think about that? And in the chat, hop in the chat. Tell us what you think about that. It says normalize comforting people without mentioning God. What y'all think?
You know, this is crazy because believe it or not, Casey dropped some scripture on you and didn't know she dropped scripture on you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, Paul says, I have to become like whoever I'm dealing with because I don't want to alienate them by being who I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to chameleon yourself to get the information and to understand. Bees are not attracted to salt. Bees are attracted to honey. So you have to be very, very, very understanding with your conversation with some folks and understand the way you attract some folks is to not be so judgmental and not bring up your spiritual, theological philosophy around them because they may not jive in the same vein that you jive in. Doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't mean you're right, doesn't mean vice versa. It means you're both on two different roads headed to the same destination. Brother Fatim.
So let me just say this. So me and Casey talked about this, and it's very simple. And I pretty much piggyback off what Joe said. I think that you can do that without mentioning God. I think that it depends on the conversation and the road that you're traveling. I think that sometimes you can do things and say things. Why can't you have a conversation and give people guidance and information and direction without bringing religion in at the end of the day? Because remember, that's your personal choice. That's your personal choice. Now you can use yourself as an example and say how you have traveled this road and how that has helped me. But when we continue, and I've said this before to a lot of people, I've said it because I've been part of organizations that have done this. And I just think that for me, you can, it's the straight, the statement is true. It's a true statement. You can do that without doing that. Because you embrace a religion or a faith and you walk in that way, don't mean that you have to have that conversation, but you don't have to exclude that conversation if the person is comfortable and receives it. But if you feel like see, it's not about you. See, that's the problem. It's not about you. It's about them. If you're about helping them, so don't get personal. Don't take it personal if they don't want to go that direction. It's about giving them information and knowledge to help them without making it religious or your personal point of view. That's what I'll say. I want to hear what Jax has to say.
Yeah, so for me, y'all know me, but I'm on the other end of the spectrum, right? So if it's, you know, a stranger, that's one thing. But okay, if you're going to pick up your phone and call me, or if we're going to be around each other and I'm comforting you, and like I said in my comment, it could be a weakness or it could be a strength, but I am what I believe, right? So for me, if I believe where my source of strength and comfort and all that stuff comes from, because I have to have a level of comfort as well in who I am and what I believe in to effectively be able to comfort and support you, right? So I wouldn't push my belief system on you per se, right? But I could try to say all the nice words. I could tell you to breathe and, you know, meditate and, you know, do all this other stuff and, you know, just have patience or whatever. But at some point, the word God is going to come out. If the word God is going to come out, because that's just in me. That's just who I am. And I know with my belief in scripture, it says, if you deny me before man, I'll deny you before my Father. So if you know who Jax is and what Jax stands for, and you're coming to me for comfort, you should already know that, okay, well, at some point, I know what Jax stands on. The word God is going to come out at some point, whether it's, just pray, trust in God, whatever. It's going to slip out somehow, because that's just the fiber of my being. That's who I am. So if you don't want to hear that, don't call me or don't, come in my presence expecting comfort, because naturally that's just who I am. So I responded to the comment also saying, if you need a mechanic, you're not going to go to the bakery if your car broke down. You're going to go to the mechanic. So if you need comfort and you want comfort from somebody that's not going to talk about God, don't come to somebody who's trying to walk in the light of God, that loves God and that understands, who she is and what she stands for. So,
Hey,
So let me jump in there on that. Let me jump on that. I got to jump in on that because I have to go back to some of our previous shows, Sister Jax, because I'll be honest with you. I know you personally.
Yeah.
I also know you professionally.
Mhm.
And I've seen you give advice without mentioning God because you are a life strategist. I've pulled you in with Dr. Gardere, who's very known, Dr. Jeff, and you and Dr. Jeff, even Dr. Jeff is giving you kudos, how you've handled people that have called in with problems and you didn't go down that road of God. So for me, I'm just looking at you as a person who can do it on both ends of the spectrum. Professionally, you don't have to mention God. And I've seen you in your work that don't mention that. And then I've seen you personally do that. So I throw it back to you. How do you deal with it from professional to personal? Because I've seen you operate professionally and not really mention God unless it's just really, you understand, if you had to really give an example of it.
Exactly. Because you know what? It's different when somebody is calling you, personally, right? When they're calling you personally for that comfort, that's just who I am personally. Professionally, of course, we have to handle and maneuver slightly differently. But if I know you personally, especially if I know you personally, it's going to come out. Professionally, it might not come out as much, but a level of it will come out in some way, shape, or form will come out, but I'll still be a bit more respectful. Just like, you have a public self, you have a private self. When we're on the phone amongst us, we have a certain conversation. You know what I'm saying? We're a mess when we're amongst us. But when we're on air, we filter some of what we say. So I'm able to filter to a degree of what I say, you know what I'm saying? But I still am who I am. I'll still let them know, even if I'm not telling them to go to God, right? I will still let them know what has worked for me. When I was going through grief, I'll still bring up God from that perspective, perhaps. You understand what I'm saying? But thank you for taking.
So let me jump in on this because I had to deal with this just a few weeks ago because of my profession. A lot of folks know me, Fatim brings up I am in law enforcement, but a lot of folks don't know I teach. I don't teach. I teach officers and I do a lot of teach with formerly incarcerated and incarcerated individuals. I give life classes. I do a class called Thinking for a Change. And it's very funny that you bring this up. In Thinking for a Change, we have to remove all religion and spirituality out of Thinking for a Change. Here's why. A person I may be talking to that is incarcerated may be of the Jewish faith. He may be of Muslim faith. He may have no religious faith. He may be Christian. He may be a certain Christian faith that doesn't believe in certain things. But here's what I always tell folks in Thinking for a Change. Regardless if you believe in a higher power or not, these principles and concepts work regardless if you're on this side of the spectrum or you're on the other side of the spectrum. At the end of the day, the principles that I am about to expound on will work regardless of what your spiritual beliefs are, because these are how you deal with human beings on a humanistic level. Now, understand this. Sometimes it's very hard to deal with us on a humanistic level without not understanding there is a spiritual component. I say that every time. I say, if you recognize it or if you don't recognize it, there is a spiritual component that operates around you on a daily basis while you are dealing with other individuals. Now, you either recognize it or don't recognize it. Look, prime example. Look, Fatim just made a friend. You just made a friend, Fatim. Just made a friend.
The plugs don't work here, so I have a power strip. So I let her plug it in, and she got power. So that's why she gave you that little bit hug. So that's what we got to do. We got to look out for folks. That's what it's about.
You don't even know. You never met that lady. Never knew that lady. Never met that lady. But once again, your heart said she needed something. You had it. and you gave it to her, and you gave it to her freely. Family, that's how we got to be.
Yeah.
That's our problem right there. Most folks will be, oh, what does she want from me? Who is she? And the sad thing is, we do that to our own melanated folks more than we do it to other folks. And we got to wake up, family. It's time for us to realize our plight is we are the melanated people of this planet. And those who are against us, they are against us. And we've got to stand fast and stand behind one another and say, regardless if you are Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Hebrew, Israel, I could care less. If you're melanated, you with me. And we got to stand in solidarity because that's what they're doing on the other side of the track.
Yeah.
Look at the lunatic that they got, and I'm calling it what it is. Look at the crazy lunatic that they done put up for the highest position, elected position in the land. Come on, family. Come on. Had you or I had a melanated man with 34 felons, lies all the time, got 3 baby mamas, talks all kind of belligerence down to everybody, not just the women, to everybody. He talks bad about black reporters. Anybody who doesn't see it his way, they are not good people. And he talks about them in a very belittling way. If that was a person running for office right now and he looked like me, y'all would be like, I'd be damned if I put him anywhere. I wouldn't put him. He couldn't be over my Laffy Taffy. Never let over the United States of America.
So it's interesting that the NABJ in Chicago has invited former President Donald Trump to speak in Chicago this evening.
And that's why I am no longer a member. I have automatically said I will no longer be a member of this.
And there has been, you know, it didn't get up a lot of conversation yesterday here in Chicago due to the fact where we were at, but there has been some issues out there. And then there's also some journalists of color that have spoken out against NABJ members that now they're asking them to resign from CNN. I think it's a female journalist out there. So this is, I'm telling you, this is interesting as we move forward. I don't have a problem with conversation, but to be invited, I think you should earn your invitation. And when you alienate yourself from a group, at the end of the day, that is not good. And I don't really have anything to hear if you continue to alienate and disrespect and not respect that. And what I'm saying, because I know how it works. I come out of Brooklyn, and like I said, I was born into a community that was mixed before I got older, and it became more Black American and Caribbean. But you know, I know that for us to go into certain communities, Bay Ridge or Bensonhurst, where it's more Italian or whatever, you know, there's certain ethics that you have to walk and respect. And if you don't do that, and the same thing we have to do that is respect our community. Because some folk, when they come in our community that's not part of our community and are different persuasions, they feel comfortable to move in our community. So we should be able to move in their community because there's a certain level of respect to those folks. But when there is not sense of level and respect, why do we lower ourselves to that level to invite and have to hear what they have to say, to try to continue to give them chance after chance after chance after chance, that way they continue to blow chance after chance after chance. You got to earn my respect.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, respect for sure. It has to be earned. And people think that, oh, you're just supposed to get it, you know, when you get it. But I mean, even with parenting, a lot of people don't even realize that, like, you still have to have a certain level of respect for your children. You know, we just think, you know, oh, they're supposed to respect me regardless, but you treat them like crap. No, respect is something serious, and respect is something that, you know, should be given, but it should also be earned. So great point, Fatim.
Appreciate it.
You know, family, what I got to say about this whole thing is I see the awakening. I see my people awakening, and that's great. I'm not here to tell you how to think or what to think, but I am telling you, you need to think, and you need to get the information, and you need to make sure that where you're getting your information from is a credible source. Once again, many a times, look at Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris. We have been told by the propaganda machine she was a horrible prosecutor. Look at all the black and brown men she locked up. Lies. But we fell for it. We didn't vet the information. And just like a dog who was hungry for a bone, when the bone was thrown out, we grabbed it and we ran with it. And we buried the bone and we told everybody else about the bone. We got to stop that. Vet the information. Understand. They have already saw the chink in the melanated armor. The chink in the melanated armor is we will run with a rumor quick. Prove them wrong. When they say something, say, where'd you get that information from? Is that true? That's what you got to ask. That's what they do when it comes to you. When you show up in your nice, pristine Brooks Brothers suit and your Harvard degree, they don't just take your word for it. When you walk in and say, you know, I graduated top of the class at Harvard, and I also have a degree from MIT, they go back and fact check you, melanated folks, quicker than they do other folks. I know because I've worked in HR. Oh, you'll come in with a degree from Ole Miss, and they'll say, oh yeah, I knew his mom and dad. They won't even go and check your degree. They won't even hurt. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But let me or you walk in there with hey, here's my credentials. Hey, we need to you need to call the admissions and make sure. Come on, family, wake up.
I have two models here. I have you work with you meet people where they're at and you work with them there, because a lot of times it's about unifying, you know. So I don't want to be to the point where we're always at each other, but I am going to start making statements, just like Joe said, vet it, that don't accept or deny what I say. Go out there and vet it, because it's times on this show I just sit back and I don't say, because I know how certain people feel about their way of life. But, you know, I shared a lot last night on TikTok, and there's a lot I shared from people that I've had this information for a long time before. I researched certain things. I went to certain Barnes and Nobles that is like 3 levels. There's one that is down in the Village. I call it the Village. It's on more on the east side. It's more like Fifth Avenue. That is, I got a lot of stuff on Mesopotamia. And there's a lot of knowledge. I've told you before, there's been documents and books before the Bible. I've tried to tell folks this, but again, I'm not here to try to convert, and this is not a religious show. So I don't do that. But I think people need to start vetting their information and start going out there and doing the research, because the people know the truth. But the information that Russian President Putin put out there with the black pictures of biblical scholars and things like that, I've known that for years. Talk about the Anunnaki, I knew that for years. I've got that from other books that were dated back before the Bible was written. So I'm not here to do that, because I try not to do that, because I realize that caused a lot of separation in a sense of our way of life. But I'm telling you now that we're in an era, and it's honestly that we talk about it since 1970, the seal has been broken. There's more truth and information that is out here. And there's different levels of this information out here. And we need, but again, do we sit up there and debate that, or do we find the common ground that we have amongst us? So that has been my motto. So I don't want to do that. I'll do that on my personal time. But when we're out here right now, the big goal is to unify us, to find where we can meet and work to become better. And it's not going to be in every area. It's not going to be in every area. It might be just to tutor our children. It might be to lend a helping hand doing something else. You understand? So that's why I don't want to be about division, but I'm also about truth. And I just sit back sometimes, because I'm like, you got to do your research, y'all.
That's right.
Got to do your research. That's why when Joe brought up the Ethiopian Bible and certain things like that, I shared something last night. It's so interesting that you talk about Matthew, Peter, John. Those are English names. You gonna tell me back in the Bible they were named Matthew, John, and Paul, and Peter? See, come on. See, that's what I'm saying. You don't even think about that. You quote these things, but you don't think about that. You telling me in that time they had those names? Impossible.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Scripture does actually end up saying like their original Hebrew name versus what they are, you know, now. So it does break it down. And you know, it's so interesting. I was at the salon yesterday to get my little locks all retwisted, right? So the guy that does my locks, he's from Africa. And he was like, Jackie, I can't wait to go back to Africa. He said, I'm only giving 5 years in America, and I'm already 2 years in. He said, I'm just here making money and I'm sending it back to my country to build my house and everything there. And he's like, I'm never coming back. He said, I literally go to the shop to do hair and I go back to my apartment, to my room. He said, that's all I do. He said, I don't want to see any other part of New Jersey or America at all. I was like, you don't want to go to California or Vegas or travel around? He was like, nope. He was like, I do not like it here. And he talked about, like the crime. And granted, he lives right in the heart of the hood. So it's always shootings and always crazy stuff. And it's interesting because he's saying the women here are terrible. He said, I see these women, all these women walking around smoking weed and smoking cigarettes and Black and Mild. He said, you don't see that in Africa. He said, all these women are smoking. He said, all these women here have loud mouths. And he said, they're using bad language. They're cursing. They're talking to men crazy. He said, the women in Africa, he said, it's not like that. The women there have more respect for than the women here. That's what he was saying.
Probably in his area, maybe, but Africa, a big country, big continent with a lot of countries, and I've been to a lot of them, and I will have to respectfully say maybe in the area that he live in his tribal area, they may have control like that, but outside of that, there are some very westernized individuals in Africa that are melanated Africans that talk a bunch of stuff and smoke a lot of cigarettes.
So I guess he's going to tell me that they ain't like the sisters up in North New Jersey because really all he knows is North New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'm not going to be combative today, and because I love Sister Jax, but I'm gonna just have to go here. I have a problem, and this is where I had the problem walking in Islam at one time, because I don't believe my woman has to walk behind. I watch certain things and how people are treated. And I say this, and this is who I am. That's the same way as you just said what the brother said, the women don't do this and do that. I got it. But I've also seen men being disrespectful and abusive, verbally abusive to women. And I don't hear us checking the men. I don't give a damn what the birthright is. You don't have the right to be disrespectful and to be abusive. And I don't hear, we talk about what the women need to do, the women need to do, the women need to do. What about the men? Why don't we have that about the men?
Yeah.
Okay? I'm tired of elevating men to king levels, but they act like they're peasants. Stop that. I don't give a damn what religion you walk or whatever. Stop elevating. If you don't walk in the king level and you don't respect people, then don't think I'm gonna look at you and give you that type of respect. We gotta stop labeling women do this, women do that, women that, this, that, and other, but we don't call out men when they don't do the right thing, when they abusive, and when they talk disrespectful. I don't give a damn what culture you're in.
You're right. And you know what? And that's even what I love about those brothers that you showed, that Ben Crump showed on the video. I know those brothers, I've seen them talk and teach, and they even talk about, men in terms of them respecting women. You're trying to get a wife, you need to have your own apartment at least for a couple of years. You need to have a job. You need to have stability. You need to have your mental health in order. So they definitely, talk about men doing what the heck they're supposed to do. And then they still talk about women, what they're supposed to do. But they say by no means, even the Most High doesn't want you in an abusive relationship. He gives you an out if somebody is being abusive. So heck no, nobody needs to, degrade you. But what else I find interesting is how he was saying about God. He was talking about how in Africa, and especially in his part, they look at God still as a white, and Jesus as a white Jesus. And he said, you know what? He said, but people are slowly waking up, but it's all, he's like, it's all rubbish. They've been trying to get us to believe this for so long. He said, but I don't believe it anymore. And then it was funny because when he spun me around and I looked at him, he had on a little necklace, a little leather necklace with a little white Jesus, a picture of white Jesus on the necklace. But he was like, but he said, he don't really.
Hey, but at least he's going through the process of letting go. So once again, people may not be where you want them to be, but at least they're beginning to wake up. And guess what? I understand this. Me as a 57-year-old man, I'm nowhere close to where my newly born grandson is in understanding. He's at a place where he can't even comprehend stuff that I'm already past. Understand, Some folks are in the babe stage of waking up. They're beginning to crawl. They're coming off of the milk. They're getting ready to eat solid food. And it's up to us to give them good and wholesome
Mhm.
instruction, along with here's where you can get the good information, and this is where you need to stay away from, because this information is corrupted, it's bad information, it's tainted. This
Yeah.
information is really not true information. It's truish, as you say, Jewish. It's
Yeah,
truish.
exactly.
It's kind of
Mhm.
true, but there's some things
Not
in it
real.
that they done put in there to kind of make it that is really not true. So
Mhm.
and at the end of the day, I wanted to put this up right quick, and we can
Yeah.
go right back to this. I got to put this up.
Mhm.
Yesterday, we had a memorial service because I know we've been talking about Sonia Massey. And this is a national story too now. The White House called Lafayette, Louisiana, and
Mhm.
gave its condolences. And that's where I have to give credit to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Just like they called Sonia Massey and said it
Mhm.
was wrong what that officer did to her, they called and said, "We have our condolences for this officer who died in the line of duty."
Mhm.
So, right now, throughout the city and throughout my region, people are supporting the Jolivet family. I actually work with this young man's mother. Her office and my office are in the same building. We work for the same department in Opelousas, Louisiana. But join and support the
Mhm.
Jolivet family. All the proceeds is going directly to the Jolivet family. And as you see, we got some great places. I'm just going to leave it up there for a minute, and then I'm going to take it down. In the green room, I got Dr. Copeland. Dr. Copeland in the green room. We're going to let her chill out in the green room for a few minutes, because in about 10 minutes, it's about to go down, family. But I wanted to, once again, my prayers, my condolences go out to the Massey family. Sonia Massey should still be breathing today. Sonia Massey should still be breathing today. Senior Corporal Segas Jolivet should be breathing today. But due to senseless gun violence, it's due to criminal-minded monsters, they are both no longer here. I said what I said. Let me remove this and let us keep going and flowing, okay?
And again, our prayers goes out to that family. Regina Hill wrote something interesting because I like to try to get in some of the other folks that comment as well. Regina Hill wrote, Sister Jax, Black women in America had to grow 3 arms and 4 legs to deal with this jungle. Hard to be timid. KC said this basically, and then there were 3 people that Rhonda Hairston, Jewel Wall, and KC both acknowledged that statement. Excuse me. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that you adapt. I think that we are more successful if we act like chameleons, that we adapt to our environment. And unfortunately, some of our women, because of some things that have not been there for, some things that have not been there for, had to become the sole provider and do some of the things. But then on the other hand, they had to look themselves in the mirror when they have done things that created the hardship on themselves, that they had to adapt. You understand what I'm saying? Because life is about a learning process out there. But yes, I do agree with the statement that society is hard. It's here, especially in America, with so many isms, sexism, racism, so many other things out there, that you have to adapt and you have to get stronger to deal with society. Because if you're not strong, they push the weak to the side.
This unmerited disrespect of the Black family, especially the Black woman, has to stop. Period.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, I'm going to bring Dr. Copeland in a little bit early because we met this lovely, wonderful sister. Dr. Copeland, welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. Welcome, 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 welcome,
Hello.
welcome. So let me show you what me and Fatim do when we're at places or on the floors of Essence. So I was perusing about the Essence Music Festival of Culture, and I went to the SBA. I went to the SBA because Small Business Administration should be an important and a building block for all of us as we especially if you're an entrepreneur. If you don't know about the SBA and you're an entrepreneur, you're
Mhm.
not an entrepreneur. You just say you're an entrepreneur. So I ran into Dr. Copeland over by the SBA booth, and I'm gonna let Dr. Copeland give us a little bit of her. I was gonna read a bio, but ain't nobody better in telling about you than you. So Dr. Copeland, hold it. I'm gonna do it like they did at in Stomp the Yard.
It's
Dr. Copeland, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Copeland. I am the CEO and founder of Copeland's Coaching and Consulting, and I focus on personal growth and leadership development training. I just recently retired from the military, so I'm excited about that. And I am also a 3-time best-selling author. So thank you for allowing me to be on your show today.
Hey, we are happy to have you on here, sister. You know, Brother Fatim and I was all over Essence, all over the place, from the bookstores to the food, to the good food of New Orleans. Now, I live in Louisiana. I already know what time it is, but it's always good to bring folks who don't know about the New Orleans flavor, the Louisiana flavor, and let them catch it. Y'all still didn't catch it. You know, y'all caught New Orleans. See, New Orleans in its own self is a state, a country, a city, a planet, a universe of its own. But if you had came to my neck of the woods, see, I live in Bobby Boucher, Louisiana. So you would have really got you some real food, because you know Lafayette food much better than New Orleans food. I said what I said. But sister Nina, talk to me, Dr. Copeland. You know, the importance of you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, but the importance of getting your stuff together before you take that step into even getting yourself at that place where you now are opening your business. Talk about how you have to get certain things together. Talk to me.
Oh, so that is so loaded because there are a lot of things that you have to get in place. And the first thing that you have to get in place is your mindset, right? So a lot of people want to work for themselves and they want to have their own business,
Mhm.
but your mindset has to be in the right place because you're not going to do everything in one big chop. And that's what I think most people think. The entrepreneur, like you go out and do these 5 things and you're going to have this banging business. And it's a process. So as you're going out, as you're discovering that you want to become an entrepreneur, as you are ideating what it is you want to do, you have to think about all the steps that comes in the ideation phase. And then from there, filling out all the paperwork. And that can be cumbersome, just getting your business license, filing for your LLC, getting your bank accounts, all those things that the SBA can assist you with. But it's just a lot and it's loaded, and just doing the paperwork can be cumbersome. So that's why a lot of people don't even fool with the paperwork. They just go and be a hobbyist. But when you're focusing on entrepreneurship, you have to do all the things that you need to do. And the money is going to come, but the money is not going to be there up front. And that's another big thing. We want to make the money like right away when you open the business. The money is going to come, but you have to have a strong foundation in place so that when the money doesn't come, you have a foundation to stand on.
Mm, that's right.
I'm gonna open it up to my team to throw their questions your way, Dr. Copeland.
And that's right. You're so right, Dr. Copeland. Welcome to the show. So, like you said, when the money doesn't come, because a lot of people don't understand that as an entrepreneur, you might have a few good weeks, you know, or a few good days or contracts or opportunities, but then it might be a month where you don't really have, you know, that same income coming in. So if you could just talk about more of the financial literacy component of entrepreneurship, and how do you handle it when there are, you know, droves of money coming in and when there are droughts of money?
Yeah, so when the money is coming in, you also have to identify, like, you still have to replenish your business.
Mhm.
So the money could be coming in, but it doesn't necessarily mean, as you, the entrepreneur, that you're taking that profit right away. And so you can't be discouraged when you're not taking that profit right away, because you have to understand that you have to replenish your business. And even when the money, you're doing the work and the money is not coming in, it doesn't mean that you stop as an entrepreneur. It just means that you need to keep going, or you may need to pause and look at your strategy and refine your strategy so that you could bring in more revenue. But you just can't stop. But there are going to be times, highs and lows in your business, but you have to be mentally strong as an entrepreneur, because it's not like a regular work day, a work week, right? You know that you're going to put in the work and you're going to be paid. As an entrepreneur, you can put in the work and it doesn't mean that you're going to get paid.
You're right. Because an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you can work 24/7. Basically, whereas if you work a regular 9 to 5, you're just there for those hours. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're basically on 24/7. Go ahead, Brother Fatim.
All right. So first of all, again, I'm on the Wi-Fi here at O'Hare Airport. So if I hope you can hear my question without being broken up. First of all, good to see you, Dr. Copeland, again. We had a great time at Essence. And let me just say this, and I'm just going straight here. With the indoctrination of our children in the public school system here in America, they teach our children how to be good employers, but they don't teach us how to be good employees, but not good employers. They don't teach you how to become entrepreneurs. They teach you go out there, get a good job, this, that, and the other, and you wind up building other people's empires. What can we do to break this cycle, to re-educate our children? Because we got to tear down a structure that's been put in place so much. And then we, as people of color, children of color, we're already behind the 8 ball. And then when there was things put in place to at least bring us up to the starting line, because we were behind the starting line with affirmative action and DEI, and then are now under attack. What can be done to change the mindset of our people, but especially our children, to become good employers versus becoming good employees?
Awesome. That's a good question. And as a mother of 3 boys, 3 Black boys, it's important for me as a mother to change my mindset. And so my kids are watching me start a business. So now they see at a young age, they see their mother starting multiple business. They see me doing different things. And so they are involved. And I always involve them in the process. Everything I do, if I'm having a conference, I'm having a webinar, I include my children. And also, we have to educate them. So when my son comes to me and say, "Oh, Mom, I want to go to work," I said, "Oh, no, you're not going to go to work right away." I would tell them, like, "No, we're going to look at what this business is going to do for you. So let's start a business. Like, what is it that you like to do?" And I start having them think about, what do I like to do? Because I want them to know that you can have freedom, and you can have freedom at a young age. See, we don't talk about having freedom at a young age. You can have freedom now. And that's what I want my boys to understand.
That is
And that's what we need to
awesome.
do across the world. We need to start teaching them freedom. We teach them
That's right.
safety. We don't teach freedom.
Don't.
Sis.
Hey, now that was the nail on the head. We got to start teaching freedom and stop teaching safety. Brother Fatim, put that on the shirt. Put that on the shirt.
Hi, baby. I love it. That's it. I mean, these are the kind of conversations that we have to inspire and to motivate. Because if we don't give the young the direction, then they only follow in our footsteps. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to, again, we sometimes say we have to do better, but a lot of times we're so set in our ways as adults that we don't want to change. But the young folks, they're boundless, they're fearless at times, and you might as well not put them in a box. Let them spread their wings and fly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now let's do a crosswalk for a moment, Doc. Let's take somebody that maybe one of our viewers that is a hobbyist, right? And they want to level up and scale up. How do they transition from being just a hobbyist to being a full-blown entrepreneur?
Well, I think what they would need to do is start getting all their paperwork in place, making the right connections, and looking at your hobbyist business and look at, okay, how do I take this hobby from here to a full-blown business? And what type of business does that look like? Is that a storefront business? Is it an online business? Looking at what venue or what model of business that you want to have, and being able to commit to the model. Because that's, I mean, like, you can make candles. You can make candles at your house and go to the vendor show. You can have a storefront for candles. You can also have a venue where you can come in and teach people how to make candles and change the ambiance so it can be like a date night or a girl night or whatever. What venue do you want for your business? So looking at that and then determine, how do you make that happen? Do you need more revenue to make that happen? Do you want to go out and get a loan? What are those steps? So those are some of the steps that you would need to identify to go from being a hobbyist to a full-blown entrepreneur to scaling your business.
Yes. And also great advice. And in the early stages, when they're not able to qualify for a loan at that time, what do you suggest they do to earn the money to then invest into their business?
Well, I would say at a novice state, I would get my credit together. That would be the first thing I would focus on. And I would start small, getting your name out there, going to network events so people will know who you are and what you are about. So what is your service that you provide, and allow people to know who you are. So that way your name is already permeating out in the entrepreneur streets, and people know who you are, because you never know who you may just meet while you out, and they may say, hey, let me help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, you need $5,000? I can give you that. You just never know what may happen when you're out in the networking streets, just putting yourself out there.
That's right. Because a closed mouth, what?
Never gets fed.
It never gets fed. Let me ask this real quick, and I know Joe's gonna jump in. I just try to jump in when I get this chance here. So I'm very observant. So I see behind you the leadership game. And one of the things that, as we grew up as kids, we played a lot of games, Life, Monopoly. And as we became more adults, playing these, interacting with our children, and just interacting with adults, because you don't realize how we as adults learn from things that are right there under our nose, and we don't realize it, that you can take the game of life. You could take Monopoly and show how you can make money as being a business owner. When you land on Park Place and you got how many homes, and you land on the railroads and own them railroads, you got to pay the money. That's a way of realizing that you can do good as an entrepreneur. Can you talk a little bit about the leadership game that is behind you? And is that a real game out there? Is that a game that people can get? And if it is, how do they go about getting it? And if not, how do people learn from the things that they can honestly buy from the store, like the game of Life, the game of Monopoly, and other things that can teach them entrepreneurship goals and strategies?
Awesome. So the leadership game behind me, I am a certified John Maxwell coach and trainer. And so this game is a part of our training that we go out and give to small businesses and corporations to develop their teams so that they can learn more about the people that they're working with and build their productivity and cohesiveness within organizations. And so how you can get this by allowing me to come in, or any John C. Maxwell certified trainer to come in and provide that training. But I do agree with you that there are games out there like Monopoly. That is one game that I do play with my kids, and we talk about real estate. That's the one thing that we hone in on with the Monopoly game. But just understanding that you can take almost anything that you have and build your teams. Like when I was in the military, I would always play Jenga with my team, right? Mm-hmm. People don't even think about Jenga, but with Jenga, you need all the pieces to be a strong force. When those pieces start coming out, what happened to the blocks? They fall. Right. And so that's exactly what can happen with a team. If you don't have all the pieces and all the talent, you can collapse. The business can collapse and the team will collapse.
Absolutely. Right. And I love how you said that, because it makes me think about the next level, a business plan, right? So if you could talk a little bit more about a business plan and explain the importance, because it directly correlates to the game.
Right. So a business plan is like all the pieces that you need. And so in terms of your business, what are all the pieces that you need in your business? So your business plan is very detailed. And sometimes when you don't know where to go, if you just get your business plan and just go line by line from the name to the people that you're going to serve, what services you're going to provide. How are you going to provide those services? What are going to be your streams of revenue to bring in the financing for the business? Who else you need to contact? What can you outsource? Like all those things are important to your business plan. And a lot of people don't want to complete a business plan because it could be long and lengthy. But it just makes you think about all the things that you need in order to keep your business, to get it started and to keep it afloat.
That's right. And another question for you, sis, Dr. Copeland, there are some people who are debating and they want to start a business and they're in the, space of, do I do a nonprofit or do I do a for-profit? If you could explain to our viewers the difference and which one might be best for them potentially.
Okay. That's a really good question. So I would say, depending on how you are going to serve your people, I think that would be the number one thing. Like if you're doing candles, that's probably not a nonprofit. But if you are going to help battered women or those with exceptionalities, I would take a nonprofit stance towards that. So just looking at what it is that you want to do. Go ahead.
And I think you would have to understand this too. A lot of people don't know when you go nonprofit, and I say this, when you go 50 whatever, 501c3 or B3 or whatever, when you go through these, there is an enormous amount of paperwork that you have to have in order with the government. Because mind you this, you can get 501c3 status and do something wrong, and all of a sudden the government will snatch that status from you because you can't, as a nonprofit, not make any profits. When you say nonprofit, it is literally nonprofit. Now, there are some stipulations, and you have to have a board.
Right.
Nonprofits are governed, you may create the nonprofit, but you have to have a board that governs your nonprofit. So even though, and when you create a nonprofit, it's really not yours. It's really, you just the founder. Understand, it's a difference from being a owner and being a founder. And that's what a lot of folks don't understand. In the nonprofit world, you're not an owner. You're just the person who founded this agency. You founded this nonprofit. You are the creative mind that said, let us do this. But as an owner, you own it. That means not only do you own it, you are then legally responsible for not only the profits, but you're legally responsible for anything else that may go left or right with your business. So you have to understand, one of the things that I talk to, not to Dr. Copeland, but I talked to the brother at the SBA thing, is that many small businesses doesn't understand that they need to retain some type of legal services or some type of legal insurance to have legal services, because in this entrepreneurship, all you need is one person to be dissatisfied in this sue happy nation we have. And all of a sudden, all your profits go down the drain because you got to invest it into lawyers to literally fight a fight that you might be completely right on, but now all your finances is going toward the legal fight to keep your business afloat. Dr. Copeland, let's talk about that a little bit.
Right. So I want to go back to the nonprofits real quick. Also, when you want to start a nonprofit, you need to make sure you understand what nonprofit you want to start, because there's a nonprofit where you don't profit, but there's also a nonprofit where you can profit. So you need to understand and read and make sure you understand what type of nonprofit is best for your business model. Now, moving back over to what we were just talking about, I think it's so important that you, what's the word? It's escaping me right now. It's escaping me. Sorry.
And you know what, to expound on what Joe was saying about the nonprofit and having a board, a lot of people don't realize that, like you're explaining, Joe, about a founder versus the owner. When you have a nonprofit, you have that board could band together and vote to get your butt off and out of the business, period.
Right.
You're like, this is my business. I started. No, it's not.
No,
you're the founder.
You are the see, and that's the point. A lot of folks don't understand. See, and that's where a lot of people get into legal problems.
Yes.
As a nonprofit, you cannot, you literally make, that's why they're tax exempt. because nobody makes money in a nonprofit. Haha. However, in these days and times, folks always find loopholes and things in the law that says, I might can do this. So,
Right.
you know, make sure whatever you do, you have vetted this with somebody who has a little legal knowledge, mainly a lawyer, in case you ever do wind up in front of a judge or wind up in a situation where, you know, them 3-letter agencies come knocking at your door.
That's
Because
right.
when them 3-letter agencies come knocking at your door, you ain't got time to be looking for answers. You better have some
the
answers.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I wanted to say too. As a novice entrepreneur, sometimes you may think, oh, you don't have the money for the lawyer fees. But let me tell you, you better make sure you can find someone that's accommodating for you. But you do need to have some type of assistance and protection in place. You can't wait until, when you make it big, that's
Yeah.
when you want to get the protection. No, you need the protection while you're building as well, because you never know what's going to happen. And here you are starting without the protection and you lose all the money because now you're fighting this legal battle. So
Correct.
as novice entrepreneurs, I do want to encourage you to have some sort of protection in place. And again, find someone that's accommodating for your budget, but let's just not dismiss it until you make it to the big league, and then you want to get protection.
And then also not have all your friends and family as board members. Number one, you should have an odd number of people on your board. So when it's time to vote, right, it's still an odd number, you know.
Right.
But also you need to not have the friends and family. You need to have other people that do have other skill sets, you know, on your board that can still take your business or that business actually to the next level. So, and you know how it is with friends and family. You have friends and family involved in it. They get an attitude with you on something that happened at Thanksgiving or something like that. Now they're ready to overthrow you, you know, even that much faster. So we have to be careful.
I see Brother Fatim is back. Brother Fatim, I'm pretty sure you have something you want to add into all of this.
Oh, well, you know, I was dropping in and out because I'm on my hotspot right now. So let's see how that works here. Because you can see that more people are here at the airport. What's some of the, let me ask you, Dr. Copeland, what are some of the challenges when you go out there to speak to people, when in a sense of getting the message through? Because of course, I guess you're speaking to people who want to get into the business. But what is just some of the challenges to get people to understand that they can become entrepreneurs? Because a lot of people feel like that it's so hard to become a small business person there in the sense of owning your own business. So talk about some of the challenges that folks face trying to become small business owners.
I think the biggest thing that it looks like I'm frozen, but hopefully you can hear me. The biggest thing is just the mindset. A lot of people feel like they just don't have what it takes to become an entrepreneur, or they feel as if they need to have everything in place on day one, which is not true. And or they feel like they need someone else, like they need to be validated to start their business. And so I try to get people to understand that you have what it takes inside of you right now. And especially if you've been a hobbyist, you're already doing it. Just get a mentor to help you get through the process, or to tell you the things that you may not know, and that can also give you that motivation. But the biggest problem is people feel as if they can't do it, or they don't have what it takes.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Sister Copeland out, let her come back in, because I know how it is once you freeze, and we don't want her to be frozen. We want all our people to see her. So she'll be right back. But once again, this is what we do. This is hashtag Truth Be Told. This is how we do it. We bring in information, inspiration, motivation, and we give you individuals who are subject matter experts in their own field and profession to give you a little guidance and just a little taste of what you need to start researching, that if this is the path you want to go, that's where you can go to. That's why we're here. We're broadcasting live on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube, and we're on Instagram. And it's me and Jax, because of course, Brother Fatim, he had O'Hara with that O'Hara Wi-Fi in Chicago, and Chicago put them out. So Dr. Copeland is coming back into the green room. We're going to bring her back. Hey, Dr. Copeland, we see you. We got your back, sis. We got your back, sis. We got your back. It happens. Hey, welcome to the wide world of the web.
Oh, dang, y'all, now I'm frozen.
See there? See there? Everybody got freeze-itis and out-itis. So she back. There she is. So look.
I got an excuse. I'm in the airport.
Okay. So talk to us about this, Dr. Copeland. Talk to about, because I want to share this with everybody. Talk about your experience and how did you enjoy and not enjoy the Essence Music Festival of Culture? Talk to us about how Essence was for you, because that's where we met at. We met at the 2024 Essence Music Festival on the floor at the convention center. So talk to me about the festival, and what would you say to sisters, to families, to Black folks, period, or folks, period, who may want to come to the festival? Go ahead.
I would say it was a phenomenal experience. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I went with a group of people. But I also went with the intention to network with people as well. And so it was just a great opportunity that I met Joe. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But it was a great opportunity. When I walked into the room, my eyes just like, I was amazed by everything that I saw, the beauty, the culture, the food. I mean, I was just taken aback by everything that I saw. It was such an amazing experience. You see tons of vendors that you have never heard of. And I think it's just great to see exposure, to see all the people who are there doing phenomenal things. And then to walk in the room and see the different stages, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make my way on one of these stages. But it was just so great to see that.
It's coming. I'm working on that for you. It's coming.
Thank you. But it was just such a great experience to see. It wasn't just captive to like a particular age, but there was something for everyone. If you were focused on beauty or just life in general, the global economic, I mean, for whatever your niche may have been or your purpose or passion, you could connect with some fashion at Essence. And that was the most important thing I liked about it. And in terms of family, I was telling my kids, like, you all have to get here. You have to see, see and experience Essence in itself, in its totality, from the concert to the convention center to everything. It was just such an amazing experience. And if you haven't been, you have to go. It is an experience to be had.
I'm going to turn this back over to Brother Fatim for a minute, and because I'm going to echo what he says. Brother Fatim says this is the season of the Black woman, and I believe that. And I see it with Vice President Kamala Harris. I see it with you. I see it with Sister Jax. I see it with my lovely wife. I just know this is the season of the Black woman. Go ahead, Brother Fatim. The floor is yours.
All right, let me try to get this in here. There's a lot to say. Let me give a shout out to my co-host on Open Line on WBLS on Sunday mornings, Jennifer Jones Austin, because she spoke also there at Essence on that Friday. But as Dr. Copeland, I'm kind of trying to put this up here as we talk about the season of the Black woman, but we also see the attack on the Black woman. Mm-hmm. We also see the attack, the Fearless Fund grant program. That came under attack because this was a grant program that helped Black women in a sense of giving them money to kind of start off in small business, in the small business area. They want to call VP Kamala Harris a DEA hire candidate. Mm-hmm. So yeah, on one hand, we see the elevation of Black women, and on the other hand, we see the disrespect and the tear down of that. Just to tie all this in, how does this affect, especially those that are trying to get in, especially Black women, especially during the time where DEI has benefited Black women and now is under attack?
Right. I think it has always been under attack. It's probably more prominent now because of what's going on in the world. But you know, as I've always heard people say, like, as a Black woman, you have to work twice as hard. And it is still true. Like, we still have to show up twice as hard as any other person in the room to be noticed, just to be noticed, right? So when I see the DEI thing, is to me, it's an excuse. It's something, it's a label that you're trying to put us in. No, we still have to work twice as hard to be noticed. And so people just need to realize, and even as Black women, whenever we go into any room, we are showing up and we have done 3 times the work of any other person.
One more quick question, real quick. What about the support? Even though when you're talking about Black women, and kudos to you, and to our sisters, same to Sister Jackson, those out there doing it. But what about the support of Black men? How do you look at? Because I remember when President Biden had nominated Justice Ketanji Brown to become to sit on the Supreme Court. I watched how some of our Black men did not support it. They wanted to I don't want to use the word attack, but they just always had questions or whatever. You see Black men supporting our Black women in business in all areas out here the way you Black women have supported us for so many years?
I think it's a challenge for men in several different ways. Some of them don't still have a different mindset, right? So the women don't supposed to be in these positions. It's a male dominated position. And so if that's your mindset, it's kind of hard to support that Black woman who's coming into the fold. And I think that's the same thing with the vice president. We do have some support, but there are still people who just don't feel like, as a Black woman, that you're supposed to be in these positions. And so it would be real helpful if the majority of men just uplift the Black woman as they're going. We're in 2024. We're not back in 1965. We are working, we are educated, and we deserve positions just as a white man or a Black man.
Yeah. And let me jump in before I throw this over to Jax. I want to put this on both you sisters' mind, because I heard this yesterday and I had a conversation with a person about this, and I think this is where we're at. Sadly, a lot of Black men should be very elated that Black women are doing what Black women are doing right now. They're not, and here's why. Because if you look at the numbers, most of us Black men were raised by single Black moms. Most of us. So most of us should say, I see my mama when I see that lady out there winning and doing her thing. But here's the problem. And I talked yesterday to a good psychologist friend of mine, and he broke it down to me. Secretly, a lot of Black men, and I'm not one of those Black men. I was raised by a mom and a dad that I saw together until the day they died, even though my beginning was very precarious. From the knowledge I had as a child to the day both of them went on to glory, they were together. Most Black men secretly are mad at their Black mamas that raised them, because they feel like their Black mamas is the fault that their Black daddies weren't there. And that messed me up when he said that, because I said, that can't be. He said, but it is. He said, they love their mama, but secretly down deep in the space they haven't confronted yet. He said, most Black men can't confront that space. They mad because they believe the reason their daddy was not around is their mama had something to do with it. And he said, that's why when you have all these Black men that were raised by all these Black mamas, right now they talking about, I don't want to see her there. I don't want to see her there. Because secretly they're still mad and harboring these hurt feelings. Now, some, not all, some. Just like, for example, there are a lot of Black men that support you, Black sisters. Just like there's a lot, and you know, and guess what? All you beautiful Black women ain't mad beautiful Black women. Y'all some good sisters.
Thank you.
All of y'all are not that, because they try to portray that y'all are angry Black women. Oh, watch them. They're gonna housewife you in a minute. They're gonna love and basketball you in a minute. See, these reality shows have folk looking at y'all that y'all are in the space of these few women that they highlighted, which these
Right.
few 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 women don't speak for all the Black women in the
Right.
United States of America or the world.
Right.
Let's get that right. So go ahead, sisters. Jax, the floor is yours.
You know what? That's so loaded. And you know me, I could go on for a moment about that, but this is our sister's moment. So if you want to elaborate, but before you elaborate, I also wanted to know, or you can tell me after, tell us after, what does your day look like as an entrepreneur and as a mom? And you know, a woman taking care of everything you take care of. If you could just give us a little walkthrough, especially a mom of a boy mom, you know, of 3 boys. What does your day look like?
So let me tell you, it has been a transition. So like I said, I just recently transitioned out of the military, and then it was summer and the kids got out of school, and I was like, oh, I had all these ambitious goals that I was going to get accomplished. And let me tell you, I was going to swim practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock, I was dropping one child off at football practice. 12 o'clock, I was picking them all back up. So it has been a challenge for me to run my day. But what I do is I get a schedule out and I have a book, and I know from 6 o'clock to probably 2 o'clock is kid time. And after that, it's mommypreneur time. And so you just have to be, I would just say it's a must that you identify what it is that has to be done for that day. And again, realizing that I can't eat the whole elephant in one day. So just keep it to those 3 top goals that I want to accomplish for the day. And it's a big thing for me because I'm preparing a women's conference in October. And so with the conference and managing all the other entrepreneurship aspects and managing my children and being a wife, it has been a challenge.
And kudos to you, like you said, and being a wife, because that's still a large role just
Right.
in itself, right?
Right. Because you can get so caught up, and I try not to be the person as I prepare for this conference. I'm thinking all the time. So I'm thinking at the dinner table, and I'm thinking at night, and I'm like, okay, I need to have cutoff. I need to have boundaries. Right. Okay, by this time, it's no more talks about business. It's like, you got to transform out of that entrepreneurship role. And that's hard because as an entrepreneur, you think about things all the time. And so I feel like as a mom and as a wife and all these roles and titles that I carry, I just have to identify when I'm going to play these roles. And I don't try to play all the roles at one time.
Amen. And Joe, and that goes back to even what you were just talking about the young Black boys being mad at their mamas, right? You know, not all, but some. And sometimes it's because we end up being single moms and there is no dad in the picture, because every child innately knows what the balance is supposed to be, the mom and the dad. It's certain things the mom gives and certain things the dad give. The mom needs to let the dad be a dad. The dad needs to let the mom be a mom and fulfill her role, right? So it's about balance. So many times when these young men, especially the young men, don't have that balance, they resent their mom. They love her to death. You know what I'm saying? But at the same token, they see, and sometimes the moms are a little grimy. You know, they hear some of those conversations of mom saying stuff on the phone, whether it's talking down about their dad, or, you know, hear the mom on the phone just, you know, not saying pleasant, you know, things, and sometimes feeling like she chased the man away. And sometimes as women, we do that because sometimes we are angry or we are bitter at certain things. And then we do, if there were a chance for us to reconcile, to be back with that man, we're so hurt in some ways that we just push them away. Sometimes because also from our own trauma. So now these boys grow up, especially even the boys that have the really hardcore moms. Some of those boys with them real hardcore moms grow up and resent women so much that they become sometimes, God forbid, the serial killers, you know, the abusers, because they couldn't beat the hell up out of their mom. So they want to beat the hell up out of their girlfriend or their wife, you know, so it's multifaceted and it's tough. And it's tough. And a lot of women are raising these young boys to be men that they wouldn't even marry. Right?
That part. Hold it. Now that part is the most important part. Because somebody, she said something with the, I think you need to trademark or copyright that mommypreneur. I like that. That's the part. I ask folks constantly in my profession 2 things. A, think about what you did to get you to where you're at. Now close your eyes. I'm going to let you go today. I have God power. I do this in front of a class of incarcerated men. I say, I got God power. Close your eyes. I'm going to let all you guys free. Your sentence has been, I'm going to open up the door and you can walk back out and do what you were doing. I said, it's just one stipulation. Your mama or your child has to take your place in here.
Mm.
Eyes come open real quick, and guess what they say? Oh, I'm good, man. I'll do my time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my time. But then when you go to the mothers and say, you see what your child did. You see where your child's at. And some of these children are grown men child. They in their 30s. They in they you know, they have committed heinous crimes and they in their 30s. Say, would you yourself want to be married to your child if he was a man who was feasible to be, you know, and a lot of them tell you he just like your daddy. Your daddy and him in the same prison. You know, so you come to find out that the sad thing about all of this is that we have to sadly change our mindset as a Black family.
Oh, yes.
And understand that the Black, watch this, the Black, hold it, mom, dad, the Black family has to work together. And see, we cannot work against one another. And so many times we try to position ourselves to say who has the most power. We have power together. This bond right here, this you put your fingers like this. This is a hard bond to break. But like this, look, all kind of stuff can happen now.
It's easy.
All kind of stuff. But once it lock up, it's hard to break. Power is in the unity and the understanding of the roles, and that the roles carry a level of responsibility. And we, many a times, we do not like that word, accountability and responsibility. But as Black men and women, if we would take on our equal share of accountability and responsibility, this Black family, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be hard to separate.
Oh, let me jump in on that. So I think it's important too, as we talk, as you just mentioned, but the thing that I'm seeing today is that those roles, they're not conventional, and they don't look like they look back in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. In the 2000s, they look different. And the problem that we're having in the Black household is that there are perceptions that the man's supposed to and the woman's supposed to, and they don't look like this. And so it's causing a lot of this. And so when we go back to men wanting to respect women, it's hard for the man to respect the woman who's no longer domesticated. And then what does that look in the household when the woman now becomes the primary breadwinner? It doesn't mean that she's a bad person. And it doesn't mean that the man is less of a person. It just means that they need to be like this, but they can't be like this because it's a perception of you need to and I need to. And it's not
Come on.
Because roles are different in my household.
Come on.
My husband takes on a different role and I take on a different role. But people always look at us like, they probably say something to my husband like, man, you let her go to all those things and she moving around and she doing. That's my household.
Right.
And
So
he does. Go ahead.
So part two of that, Dr. Copeland, let's really break this down. The roles are changing within the family.
Yes.
And the question is, you know, this is very interesting. This is a very broad kind of question because I know how Sister Jax looks at certain things in the sense of a breakdown of the family, the husband, the wife, the children. But then also, it also depends on the family structure and how the structure is taking place. That's why I get on a lot of brothers coming out of New York City when I see, and I saw this for years, the guys hanging out in front of the corner store doing their thing, while the girls are upstairs doing their homework. And I used to say to the guys, the women are going to pass you. And because of what you got hanging between your legs, it's not going to honestly put you in a position to be that leader. You understand? Because they're going to lead by more example, because they're going to be able to lead the household because they are put in that position. But a lot of men, because their ego, you said this is a male chauvinist society. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It is a male chauvinist society, and it is a male dominated world. I go back to James Brown. It's a man's world, but it wouldn't be anything without a woman in it.
That's
We
right.
understand that. But with these roles are changing now, what mechanism that we can help men, because this is a blow to our egos. I'm a man.
Yes.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I can't separate
It's
myself
like, yeah.
from this. This is a blow. I didn't have a woman that went out there, a wife that went out there and worked full time due to the fact that she had sickle cell. And I didn't really want her out there. If she didn't have a sickle cell, she had that spirit that she would be out there. So looking back at my mother and father, but she also looked back at her mother and her father both worked. But the father still was the man of the household. But it was a different kind of equation. So how do us, again, I know you're not a man, but
Mhm.
there got to be certain mechanisms that help us men deal with this, because it is a blow to our ego. And then what happens is, if we can't do it by example, you know what we do it by brute strength or abuse,
Yeah.
Right.
verbal and physical abuse, because we tend to be stronger than the women physically. And then when we don't get our way, and the woman's supposed to fall in place, and we supposed to be the leader, it becomes an abusive relationship. That's why some women out there are doing it by themselves, because they're not going to tolerate that.
But the third way, 15, great points. And the third way, though, whether it's by brute strength, force, abuse, the third way is they'll just go out and find a softer woman to do the things that their wife won't do, unfortunately.
Right. So all those things, I just want to jump in because I
Yes.
just want to say what I need to say. I think I want to go back and then I'm gonna come back. So going back to women being upset with their mom, also because their dad wasn't present
Yeah.
to give them an example.
Mm-hmm.
And so transfer to today, and now they are in this relationship where you have this woman that appears to be, they can see it as a dominant or over them, right? And they don't know how to deal with that because they haven't really had any example of unity or shared responsibility, and they don't know how to really deal with it. Now, going back to the woman, and what I just, in total honesty, you have to respect the man because it is a blow to the ego. And I don't care. They feel some type of way when you show up and you're like dominant and you can be overpowering, not realizing you're overpowering and making him feel some
Yes.
type of
Inferior,
way.
right?
So as the woman, and I had to learn this, I had to respect and bring him with me, not you're behind me. No, you're with me. We're together. And so he had to shift his mindset to realize, okay, because he's upset and he's mad and he's guarded and he's defensive because it looks like I'm in front of him and he's in the back and he's always in the back. No, no, no. It's not always in the back, and it's not a me in the front and you in the back. It's a us. It's a together. We are one. And that's the way we had to come to the world. Like, no, we're one, and stop talking to my husband like, oh, he
Come
behind
on.
me.
Come on.
You know,
That part.
And
That part.
like, oh, well, why your
Yeah.
husband don't do XYZ? No, our roles are different. We understand the roles in our household.
And you don't govern my household. Your how you do it in your house that works for you may not necessarily work in my house. And what you said was profound because it's scripture. What folks do is misinterpret the scripture. It says, how can two be in agreement if they don't walk together?
How can
It
two
didn't
walk
say-
together unless they agree?
Right. Hold it. So it didn't say one walk in front.
No,
Though there are situations where men have to be in front because we are the protector. We are ordained to be the one to be the covering. But when it comes down to certain things, we're supposed to be side by side. That's why in medieval times, and I read this in a book and it blew my head. That's why the king and the queen sit side by side. She may have a smaller chair, but she doesn't sit in front of the king. She don't sit beside. She sits right beside him because they are together. They are together. She is his wise counsel. He is her wise counsel and covering. So we have to get that, and most men don't. Like you said, if the woman makes more than the man, and let me give a quick disclosure, even though I'm retired military, there have been times my lovely, beautiful better half has, because of her position in the government and what she does with the job she does, she makes a lot of money. So that didn't make me feel smaller the days that she was doing better than me, because we were.
Mm-hmm.
So watch this. When you have a clear understanding of what's going on in your house and the conversation is in your house, and you don't let your house or your eyes look at other folks' houses, see, that's the problem right there. Too many times your eyes and your ears are in other folks' houses instead of being in your house. And if you can get your house in order, as the old song goes, as the old Negro spiritual says, sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. Too many of y'all sweeping other people's front doors. Get back to your house. You sweeping around other people's front doors, sweep around your own house. All right, I'm done.
Right.
I'm off my
So I
soapbox.
can be the face, like I'm the face of the business. I'm a face of all the things that goes on. But my husband is the behind the scene person, and that's his personality. It doesn't mean that he's not less of a man or I beat down his ego. No, because we need that. We need somebody to be the face, and we need somebody who's making sure the operations are good in the background. So again, just coming together. But for women who are in those higher roles, always make sure, I would just highly recommend that respect your husband, your partner, whatever, and bring them along with you. But we have to realize that, because a man will feel some type of way.
Yeah.
But bring him along, but don't berate him or make him feel less than, because he already does. So don't give any more, but bring him along with you.
What do you say to those women who are very successful women, and they might have all these other letters behind their name, and they're have all these degrees, and are whether it be entrepreneurs or working for corporate, and they feel or maybe not even working, but they feel like, oh well, I'm not cooking, like I work hard, I'm not going to cook, I'm not going to worry about cleaning, I'm not taking care of the home because I'm out here busting my butt making money, even if the husband does work and have a successful career and job as well, or whether he does whatever it is that he does. What do you say to those women who totally want to kind of negate, part of their, role as a wife and as a mom,
Oh, I think that's something that I battle every day. So what I'm not going to do is be in a match with my husband about who's going to cook. If it can't get done, you work, I work, hire somebody. Done. Like hire someone. Like that's too easy. If you're busy and you don't want to do it, don't put it off on the other person. Like, oh, because you have lesser responsibilities, you should do it. No, hire someone.
I like that. Why you say you got the money, you making the money, go ahead. Hire somebody. Spend the money. You can't take it with you. Spend the money. Spend the money. That's what you made it for. You make the money, spend the money. Let's go.
Right. Or just have that conversation as to who's going to do what. Hey, I won't cook 5 times a week, but I can take 2, and then you can take the other 3, and we eat out the other 2 days. Done.
Yeah.
But just have that conversation, but don't make the other person feel like it's a must. They must, because you have all the letters behind your name. And so when you come home, just sit your letters aside when you come in your house, so that you can be the woman and the wife that you need.
Say that again, sis. Put the letters aside and be the woman and be the wife that you need to be. Because like I said, because some of these brothers, with some of these strong women, some of these brothers is like, you know what? I'm going to get what I need, that soft, feminine woman, elsewhere. And
let's be honest, ladies. And on the other flip side of the coin, sometimes when men are that way too, there are sisters who got a lot who say, guess what? You my husband, you the father of my children, but I got my side man too that takes care of what it needs. So that door swings both ways. Don't think for 1 minute it don't swing both ways.
Yeah, because women be getting it in. But the thing is, the men never know for the most part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Brother women be more sneaky and slick with it.
Brother Fatim that muted his mic. He don't want nobody to
sit on this one.
Come on, bro. Come on. Throw the cape on.
No, it's not. I run to this. It's just that I realize my plane's gonna be boarded soon, so I gotta finish Reverend Sharpton's show rundown and send it to him in New York. But I look at this and I say this, that a lot of times us black men say we want a strong black woman, but we run from it. We don't run. I run towards a strong black woman because I've been raised by even though I've been blessed to have, you know, a strong Black mother and a strong Black father, as Joe said, being raised in that household, and then strong examples. Because when I met John Amos, the father, James Evans, on Good Times, I said, thank you for being a strong father role model to me. And I said, oh, my father was still in the house, brother. Oh, my father was you. But because of the examples, because you got to realize the examples. And I shared a TikTok last night, and it was by an actor. And he talked about since the 1970s, we don't see strong roles for a lot of Black men. You get one or two, Denzel Washington, a couple of others out there, you know, Idris Elba, but you don't see that dominant man out there. And when I talk about dominant man, that a man that can take control, take charge, be a man, be a father, but can be a loving individual, can deal with his emotions. Don't worry about exposing emotion because it doesn't make him soft. But nowadays, now again, I'm going down a slippery slope. I don't have the time to talk about it, but now, you know, we don't see that, and we don't see those examples. And for me, again, I don't have sons, but I know how I would have brought up my sons. At the end of the day, is I would bring them up in a way of respecting women, respect yourself, know what you want, because by knowing what you want, then you can make better choices out there. You know, so I look at you as Dr. Copeland, and I'm just listening to you, and you say your husband is in the background. You work together. You and him came together, and you decided how to work together. You know, we got to do a seminar because I want to hear from you Black women. You know, I know both of you sisters are married, but I want to hear what is the image as young girls, the type of men that you look forward to, and did you marry that type of man?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I did. I did. The first time around, it was a little sketchy.
I don't want to get you in trouble. Joe, you said my mic was muted. You know I can go here, bro.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to let you catch a plane because it's 11 minutes. 11 minutes
You gotta catch a plane.
We tried to let you catch a plane. So here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to do this and respect our guest, Dr. Copeland. Dr. Copeland, it is 10 minutes to the top of the hour. We do close out at the top of the hour. I want everybody to get blessed by knowing how to get in touch with you, your social media, if you have a website, if there's anything they need. A lot of folks don't know. I'm making my way to her conference. I done already said what I had to say. Me and her gonna have to just work it out. I'm making my way to the conference.
Amen.
I'm telling you right now. So Dr. Copeland, tell everybody how to get in touch with you, or if they need you for coaching and consulting, how they can do that also. The floor is yours, and give us some closing words.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. It has been a phenomenal opportunity to be on here this morning. You can find me at drninacopeland.com. That's my website. And you can find me at Dr. Nina Copeland on Instagram. Yeah. So those are the two ways of getting in contact with me. And I would say for closing remarks is just be you. Don't try to be anyone else. Don't try to compare yourself to anyone else. Understand those innate abilities that are inside of you. Use those as your superpowers to be bold and to pursue the life that you want to pursue. But can't nobody pursue it like you. It may look like others are doing the same things that you're doing, but they do not have your voice and they don't have your way to do it. So don't compare, be you, and love yourself inside out.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Copeland. Brother Fatim, catch that plane, man. Give me some final comments and get up out of here, man. Unmute your mic, bro.
Let me unmute my mic there, you know, and let me just say this, in the spirit and in the memory of Sonia Massey. That's why I was in Chicago, can't forget. Look at the strong sisters, our host, co-host here, Sister Jax, our guest, Dr. Copeland, and to our sisters out there, to our brothers out there. If you're not walking in your light, it's never too late to change the way and the direction that you're walking in. Do the work that needs to be done. Utilize and follow examples like Dr. Copeland, like Brother Joe, like Sister Jax out there. You can do it. Our job is to do it for us, but us that are conscious realize that we need to leave some kind of blueprint for the young folks and other folks that are behind us to be better in the world. So I just look at today's show, and I want to thank Dr. Copeland for coming on. Thanks, Sister Jackson. Thanks, Brother Joe. And I thank all the people in the comments today for all of the support that you give us. And as Joe says, be better than you were yesterday, today. I'll leave it right there, Joe.
All right. Sister Jax, give me some closing comments, sis.
Great job, everyone. Great job, my sister Copeland, for joining us today. We definitely enjoyed having a great conversation with you, and thank you for all the wonderful insight you provided to us and to our viewers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Fatine, safe travels back, my brother. Continue to be amazing. I can't wait to talk to you in a few once you land, wheels down. To our viewers, have a great day and be blessed. Like I mentioned to everyone yesterday, pick up the phone, call somebody, connect, tell them that you love them, tell them that you forgive them. Guess what? You did it yesterday. Now try somebody else today. Every day, practice kindness, practice love, practice sincerity, and practice being obedient to the Most High if that's what you choose to do, because that is where your blessings will truly flow from. So I love you. If nobody told you that they love you today, you know who loves you. Jax loves you. Be blessed. Until tomorrow, we'll see you soon. Have a blessed one. Have a blessed one.
And Yep. Let's do it like that. So you know how I end it, family. I do it the same way every time. Be better today than you were yesterday. Do something today to be a blessing to someone, somewhere, somehow, that no matter what you give them, there's no earthly way that they can pay you back. And always remember that there is no secret what God can do. What he has done for others, he will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. Be blessed. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Turn up Thursday. Turn down for what? We up out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Hello, morning. Now when does the fun begin? Goodbye, morning. Sorry it had to end. But see, I cried just a little too long. Now it's time for me to be strong. Hello, morning. I sure missed you last night. Goodbye, morning. You just won't do me right. I stayed just a little too long. Now it's time for me to move on. They say I'm hopeless. As a penny with a hole in it, penny with a hole in it, yeah. They say I'm no less than up to my head in it. Ba 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 ba. Yeah. Hello, yesterday. I sure need you now. Goodbye, yesterday. I just can't stay around. You see, I cried just a little too long. Now it's time for me to be strong. Hello, yesterday. Remember how it used to be. Goodbye, yesterday. I can't take you with me. No, I can't. You see, I stayed just a little too long. And now it's time for me to move on. They say I'm hopeless, hopeless, hopeless. There's a pity with a hole in it. Ooh, 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 ooh. They say I'm no less, no less, no less, no less, less than up to my head in it. Oh yeah, yeah. They say I'm hopeless, hopeless. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's a pity with a hole in it, pity with a hole in it, hole in it. They say I'm no less, no less, no less, no less, no less than up to my head in it. Ba 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 ba.